I would like to bring to the stage No I.D. Hello again.
Once again.
Once again. Oh.
Once again. This is my Howard Cosell.
Yeah, I'll take that. I hope we got that on tape, right? I'm going to use that in my press kit. But you know, always a pleasure to sit down with you. Happy to have you back in Chicago.
Nah, happy to be here.
You doing all right with the weather?
It's cold.
Shell-shocked a little bit?
It's cold.
So, you know, you've had an incredible career as a rapper, a producer, an executive in A&R. You've really run the gamut of things that you've done in the music business. So, you know, you're one of the, some people might say you're the godfather of Chicago hip hop, but, you know, I'll let you decide that or not. But you know, tonight I just want to talk about your history and, you know, how you got to where you are today. So let's start from the beginning. Hip hop in Chicago. How did you get into it?
Well, you know, the funny thing about it is, for me, it really starts with house music. It doesn't really start with hip hop.
Right. And I was going to talk about that, but let's.
Yeah.
Because
So you said at the beginning, that's why.
Right.
So all right, let's skip to hip hop. You know, we used to. I'm Common. You know, I've known him since we were like 9, 10 years old. We used to play basketball together. Life, you know, childhood friend, brother. And he was the one that would bring the hip hop around. He had a cousin who passed away named Ajale from Cincinnati, who used to influence us to get these tapes. And that led us to listening to WHBK, which was the premier hip-hop radio station for us back then. Chili Q and JP Chill and a lot of other names that you young people might not know. But it was a foreign element to us because it was a house music city, period. That's all we went to, were house parties. I did house music. And growing up on the South Side, a lot of things we got into were to stay out of trouble, be creative and be active in a way that would keep us on the straight and narrow. And comes this thing called hip hop, which we had. There was no scene, there was no industry, there was no thought of a deal, there was no money. It was literally like, let's try that. And then, you know, to breakdancing and making beats and rapping and making these little tapes and performing them in different places. But that was my introduction into hip hop. And it probably wasn't until I heard like Paid in Full or Criminal Minded that I was like, I want to do this. Actually, I want to do it.
And so, were you hearing those records on like WHBK?
Yeah, and then, you know, after a while, we just started finding the tapes. So we would go to just try and find a new hip-hop album that would come out, and there was only certain stores that would have them, and you had to just kind of find your way to it. So it was either trying to get someone from New York to send a tape back so you could learn what the new songs were, what was being played, and then try and find who made it, and buy the tape, and then we'd play basketball in the backyard, listen to the rap tapes.
And how big of a stronghold did house music have? Like, were you considered a complete outsider?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was, it was rare that you would hear a rap record at a party. And it definitely wasn't like, it was more like, what are we supposed to do to this? We don't even know. We don't even know what that is. So then another good friend that grew up with us was Twilight Tone. Him and Reggie Know, and they formed a crew, and they would start throwing these hip hop parties. And I think that was like the first for me. I know there were the things that happened before me and my generation that definitely deserve recognition. But for me, that was the first place that I could go to and see a hip hop party. And definitely me being from the further south side, I had to make a journey to even get to that.
Because those guys were in Hyde Park, right?
They were in Hyde Park.
So that was like the Dem Dare crew.
Yes.
And you guys were the 87th
Yeah.
Street crew.
You gotta be careful how you say that.
Sorry. So the UAC.
That means something different.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
So were you guys known as the UAC at that time?
That
like
was
an American
more-
Caravan, or was that later when you joined with Tone?
That was. I don't know that I was ever in it. I guess I was, but that was more like Common, his intermediate circle. When he really started rapping, because everybody needed a crew, and that was the crew. And I guess I was just more of the producer in the equation than I guess I was in it though. But
Right. And did you guys mesh well with the kids from Hyde Park, or was that like a lot of tension there?
a lot of tension. But we were nomads. We just kind of roamed around, causing trouble, playing basketball, making music, just exploring, young and dumb, without guns, really. That was
Right.
the blessing that we didn't really have to face, kind of what this generation does. We made a lot of mistakes, but we didn't kill each other.
Right. And it wasn't posted on social media for the world to see.
Yeah.
So, you know, these parties that you were going to where hip hop was being played, at what point did it start to cross over and you noticed, okay, like they're starting to become a scene here, and you know, these people are making music over here, they're doing it on this side of town, et cetera, et cetera?
I'm gonna say for me, because I'm gonna try and touch on some things I haven't touched on, because I've done a lot of interviews, and I told them I'm gonna get into some why, a little more why this time than just what. For me, I really kind of quit music at some point and went to college, and I really didn't even have a thought anymore about making it and it being a scene. I think I kind of ran a course with, because I was making house music, and I think the business went so bad that I didn't have any faith in business anymore, and the sight of business for hip hop and the need of a scene was kind of irrelevant to me at that point. It was more just like, all right, what am I gonna do? I don't know what I want to do with my life, and I ended up just going away to school, which didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
So you go down there, and from what I've read or what we've discussed in the past, you and Common were kind of sending music back and forth, playing it for each other on the phone, answering machines and things like that, right?
Well, no, this is actually how that went. Was I went away to SIU, which is a party school, and I lost my mind.
You had a little too much fun.
I did.
A little too much fun at SIU.
And I actually, the weird thing is I went for electrical engineering, something you're not supposed to lose your mind if you have any hopes of getting through it. But I had the wherewithal to, I remember calling my mother like a year and a half in, going, I don't want to waste your money. I need to come home, right? And now, it's serious now. So now, I saw that Common was still going with the music, and I was like, And now I could kind of see the seeds of a scene and different things.
So you were watching this happen from afar.
I watched it, and I go, I got to get back in it. How am I get back in it? So I started making beats for me.
Because you rapped.
Because I rapped.
Yes.
And
People here may not know that.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe I could be like the third guy in the crew that after, I could be like, and I just started making beats.
You'd be like MC Ren, no disrespect, but like you're not Cube, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't, I'm just saying, I'm just like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
Because my parents had a rule which served me well, which was have a job or get out. Or be in school, take a pick. So I remember first real job I worked was telemarketing after I came home from college, and it lasted a day and a half. And then
That fast, huh?
yeah, and then my father, has an electrical company, and Regent's Park was one of his clients. So he goes, "Come over here, put you to work," and it was so bad. I mean, and the way the other people were in the building were treating me, it was just. So I got about a weekend, and they had me doing stuff like scrubbing the pool with acid and cleaning pipes on the roof 100 degrees and steam in my face. And I remember looking at the pipes, looking at the lake, and I'm doing music, right? And that's when I decided, right? And I come down, I go, I quit, I'm doing music. My father's like, well, what are you gonna do? I'm like, music. He's like, that's not a real thing. What are
I mean,
you gonna do?
very foreign now. I mean,
Yeah.
even
No.
now, it's.
Yeah.
But back then, it's like.
Yeah, he's like, come on, man.
In Chicago? Like, what
Yeah.
do you mean?
He's like, well, you know what this means. You gotta. I'm like, I know. I packed up my Aries K, and I drove to Tallahassee where Common was still in school. I showed up. I said,
Did he know you were coming, or did you just
yeah, I told him.
pull up?
Said, I'm on the way. I'm pulling up. Make some space. So in that time period is where I started. It's actually funny because a good friend of ours, Omar, I was back here with him, and I remember the day when Tone, Omar, me, and Common, we used to go to his house in Hyde Park and just play stuff. And I remember I came and played some of my beats, and they had finally got there. And he said some raps, and they finally got there, and we kind of looked at each other and was like, and he was like, let me get that one. And that was the first time that I was really producing for him. And really, most of the beats on Can I Borrow a Dollar were my beats for me. And he just kept
for
saying,
yourself? Okay.
Yeah, he would be like, let me get that one. Let me get that one. And I was like, and mind you, like, I ended up getting like $200 a beat. You know,
It's a pretty good deal.
Mm.
It's not bad.
It worked.
Yeah, it works. I mean,
worked.
you know, it's a placement. A placement.
It worked.
Did you do his demo? The one that eventually got to
That was some of the stuff that,
Okay.
that came about. So all in this time period is like, you know, my level of desperate tempo sped up. You know, I was just making more and more and more music, and that's when I started leaving the messages on the machine and playing beats, anything just to get something on because it didn't look good. It did not look good.
Didn't look good, but then things start happening.
Things start happening. And whatever that means, it really didn't, but it did.
Right.
He got a deal, which was an indie deal. The irony of that in 2018, when people are now fighting for independence, we started in an indie deal, where that's what hip-hop was. It was indie deals.
Because it was through relativity.
Relatively. And
Before they were
Yeah.
picked up by.
now, mind you, okay, we put a record out. It wasn't like, it was still like, yeah, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, we're gonna. And I remember like two specific things that happened. We went and opened up for Luke at FAMU. And I'm DJing.
That is
and Tone
apples
is
and
like,
oranges right
"Man,
there."
Oh man, and we doing these records, Take It Easy, and the pennies start flying, and I'm like,
So you're ducking loose change on
Yeah,
the
and I'm
stage.
like-
Not panties, pennies.
yes,
Yeah.
penny for my thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm like, let's wrap it up, you know. And then
Were you were you DJing?
Yeah, I actually had the SP1200s up there, and I was actually doing music.
So
live.
Tone would DJ, and then you would do.
No, he wasn't even DJing then. He was hype man.
Okay.
First album.
Okay.
So he was actually performing. And then we left there and we wanted to open up for KRS-One. And we in there, we having fun. I love KRS-One. And he's rapping and we're throwing the sampler tapes out and the sampler tapes are coming right back.
And are you in New York opening up for
York.
him, or is
I'm
this
like,
here?
man.
Local.
We ain't there yet.
Okay. Not there yet.
We're not there yet.
You're not there yet. Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't really till Resurrection that things turned around.
But you, from the outside looking in, as a young fan, I'm seeing the videos on Rap City. I'm seeing the videos on Yo MTV Raps. So to the outside world, it looks like you're on and like, okay, these are rap stars.
Welcome to the industry. It looks different than it is, you know. And but we knew we were going out, we were touching the people, so we knew when people really were in and when they weren't. Just because it got played, that didn't mean people liked it or respected it, to be honest. But it was, it was baby steps. And, a lot of times people don't understand until you really, your environment can create something really special, but it can be multiplied when you go around the world and you see more. That's when you can expand that thing. And sometimes we don't ever get to that point because we don't know how to get past that tipping point that allows us to move around and journey and see different environments and learn other stories and kind of take that and come back and apply it differently.
That's the thing that can hinder a lot of artists. People don't want to move around and go do that type of thing.
Absolutely.
You got to really want it.
Yeah, and I always say this, music is not the one thing, there's a few things, but one of the things that a lot of people just try and do with no previous education, no proper guidance or mentorship.
You don't need it to get in the business, right?
You just wake up one day and go, I do music. I'm a manager. I produce. I got Fruity Loops. It was free. I downloaded it. And that's it. And, there's no other real profession in this world where you just wake up and do it and say you're doing it. I mean,
now it's even easier. Like, there's no point of barrier of entry anymore.
No, you could just do anything and put it out and buy some views.
Right. It's that easy.
Look.
Buy followers. But you guys had to actually go to a studio.
We had to go through all this, all the time, and it had to bear fruit in a real way. Otherwise, it did not exist. It just didn't exist. Like, there's a lot of things that were played back then that we don't talk about it. And those people don't have careers. They don't, And we supposed to pick something that's supposed to, feed our families and fulfill us. But, that's not always the case with the paths we choose. And, when you take 3 steps back, again, like, what made us think we could just do it anyway? Yeah. Like, that's something that, motivational people do it. You could do anything. Yeah. But there is a thing called education, right? And, then the positive person goes, educate yourself, and then you can, and so I'm right in between the middle there. It's like I'm seeking information. I don't have to go to a specific building and pay to learn. It's 2018, the information is available. You can seek information, guidance. And I guess my point is that when I look back, I can see the growth between Demo, Cannonball Dollar, Resurrection. It was we began to educate ourselves. We met people. We learned more. I learned what I was doing. I wasn't guessing. I was applying what I had as the kid that grew up. Father played jazz in the house, always heard it. Loved music. DJ, played house music, understood tempos and edits and remixes, and then got into hip-hop and understood those elements. But then as I traveled, I began to understand how people were making records that were working. And I no longer was guessing, and I was mixing that with what I liked. And then it kind of turned into my style.
And did you record Can I Borrow a Dollar in Chicago, or did you have to like go to New York and
New York.
So everything at the time, you guys were going to New York to record everything.
And the funniest thing is, like, I used this SP1200, which only had 10 seconds of sampling time. So a lot of the records, we would need 20 seconds. So I had to make part of the beat on here and then take the disc out and make another part, and I would never even hear it together until it was laid. So when we went to do this album, we would go and we got like, all right, we're doing 13 songs and we got 10 days. And we never heard it all together ever before that.
Wow. So now, I mean, you would have to go literally lock in for 10 days.
Yeah.
Writer's block, be damned, creative blocks.
No. You got to have the songs before you get there.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not writing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Nobody's writing in there. No,
Well,
it's like,
I mean,
listen, 10 days.
Yeah.
Have your raps and you have these beats. Go.
So you never heard them. There was no pre-production before that, though.
No.
Okay.
That's just what it was, and we had to imagine the result.
So the first album comes out, it doesn't sell that well, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you get another shot.
Yeah.
How hard was it to get another shot back then?
Easy. We didn't $200 a beat.
The budget was small, so you might have ended up. You didn't.
I mean, the deal might have been $50,000.
Right. So they give you another chance.
Yeah.
And this becomes the resurrection.
Well, because the Soul by the Pound remix.
So that's what did it.
That's what kind of made people go, okay, give them a shot.
Okay, because they liked that record that had the most traction of it.
Yeah, that was like, okay. Then I got a couple calls. Hey, man, that was pretty good.
Okay.
Before it was like, yeah, man, doing your little rap thing, huh? Yeah. Keep it up.
And so you guys are going to New York. You're traveling around. You're these Chicago kids in New York. And are you getting, there's no rap in Chicago. I'm sure they're probably kind of treating you guys a little different. Were you getting respect?
Yeah, not at first. But, the first people we met was like the Beat Nuts, Chiali. Then we met Q-Tip.
Like you're like native tongues and like
that. Fat Joe, Pun before Pun was signed. So we're just in this circle where, back then like digging in the crates was a thing. So, I was a DJ, so I'd be like, hey, back in Chicago, it's a lot of records. You want to give me some names? I'll go get some stuff for you. Which is how I really started to learn how to do that specific art of just finding obscure music to sample, which broadened my ear, made me more educated. I learned about reading about the personnel on records. It just expanded my horizons in a way that I never would have just expanded it on my own. So.
Right. So this is 94, which is maybe the most competitive year in rap music history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? I mean, if you
I call it the platinum era.
Right.
The golden era was before the platinum era.
This is the platinum era.
Yeah.
Where people were really going platinum.
Yeah. Drug dealers are accepted too. Before that, they weren't.
Yeah, right. So, you're competing with the likes of Biggie, competing with, like Nas drops in 94. You've got, Wu-Tang's doing their thing in 94, Craig Mack. It's a lot of stuff happening. Murder Was a Case soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like, and you that album drops in the fall of 94, right? Fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yes.
So all the big dogs are out.
Yeah. Not to mention, Chronic is still tearing up the atmosphere. Doggy style, like all these things.
Doggy Style still.
Like, so imagine we like take it easy and all of that's happening. We like, oh man. Whew.
And it's a big change from Can I Borrow a Dollar to Resurrection. I mean, it's a completely different sound.
Yes.
Common was kind of like rapping almost like a Das Effects. Like he had a fast rap.
Yes.
The beats were like this was a totally different sound.
Yeah, this was like, hey man, we gonna get serious, man. Stop playing around, man. I'm not playing, you're not playing. All right, let's go.
So what changed the mindset? Is it because you saw
Yeah, we traveled. We
Illmatic
saw
and-
the pennies was flying, everything. We like, hey man, this ain't gonna. We're gonna be back at home.
Right.
Let's turn up.
Let's not go back home.
We're not
empty-handed.
going. We're
Let's-
not going
We
home.
We're gonna go home with a W.
Yes, 100%, without a doubt. So it was like pit bull mentality. It wasn't. It was no longer like, we just want to be respected. It was more like, y'all not gonna do this to us. Just make us look crazy out here. No.
And so that album happens. I Used to Love Her. Looking back, it's a classic album, undisputed.
Mm.
But at the time when it dropped, how did you feel it was received? Were you disappointed? Because I read somewhere it sold like 2,000 copies in the first week. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Yeah, that's true. I don't. At that point, I don't even know that we even were conscious of
First week sales.
first week sales like that. I think we were still just more like, oh man, we're getting good reviews. Oh man, certain people are calling us up saying they like it. People that we respect. I think that was probably more important to us because, again, I don't think we had any concept of, Puffin Big hadn't threw the rollies in the sky just yet. So
it wasn't quite there yet.
yeah, we didn't, the Cristal didn't really. It wasn't in our club as a.
It was more
as
about
a purchasable option.
It was still about respect, having
Yeah.
skills, having
Yeah.
dope beats, being able
Yeah.
to, find the obscure samples, find,
Yeah.
having the best beats, having the best rhyme. Like that's what it was then.
Yeah, it was just a different time period. That's what I'm more so trying to say. Not making light of any of the eras. It was just, I hadn't even looked at myself as a producer yet. I looked at us like a group, like Gangstar or whatever, P Rock and C.O. Smooth. It was just, man, we just wanted to be accepted and appreciated.
And once that happens, what was this? What was the climate like in the city? So you come back home, you come back to Chicago. How were you guys treated when you come back? Because I feel like now there's a scene happening.
Yeah, and then across town you got like Crucial Conflict and Do or Die and like Twister. They're like selling records.
And that's one thing that we
We're
had.
like, wait, whoa.
We've never talked about this, and this is something I've always wanted to ask you.
Nah, that's good. We never talked about
Yeah, we haven't talked about this.
All right,
before.
good.
We're
Let's
not
go.
just going through the motions.
Let's go.
over here. So, what is that like? You have this critically acclaimed album. Everybody loves it. The video's getting heavy rotation on Rap City. Everybody loves I Used to Love Her. The Resurrection video's crazy. But then you come back to Chicago, and it's like, okay, well, we're not selling a ton of records. But across town, even though Traxter is from the South Side, he's producing for Do or Die, who have a smash hit with Pope
Smashes.
Pimp. They rebrand
Smash.
Twista from like a gimmick rapper to like, okay, this dude's for real.
Yeah.
And then you got Crucial Conflict.
Yeah.
They're going gold and platinum. So
Yes.
what are you feeling?
I don't think that. I think it was such a artistically different expression that we had not accepted that as a competition. We kind of just looked at it like, oh wow, that can happen. More than, wait a minute, why is that happening? And even the funny thing is, I joke with Traxter about how there was like this unspoken tension between us for years, and it wasn't until we weren't in Chicago that we were like, "Hey, man, hey, what's up? Let's go."
The
eat
No
some
I.D.
food
versus
or
Traxter
something."
stuff.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So it wasn't something that really bothered us. It wasn't something that really, had it been the type of music we were making and it was doing those numbers, we probably would have fell away. But I think we just looked at it like, oh, okay.
It was such a different sound.
Yeah, it was more like, wow, that's possible for
Right.
someone here. And I think that's what you get going into One Day It All Makes Sense is like, okay, let's expand. Let's work with Erykah Badu. Let's work with Lauryn Hill. Let's work with CeeLo, let's work with Roots, let's work with. It was no longer about let's just go in the basement and make some music. Now it's like, all right, let's try and win.
So that's
Not just be credible.
right. So then that's when the commercial aspirations begin.
Yes.
But nothing was a super reach.
No, it was still within the wheelhouse.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I mean. It wasn't like we were like, oh man, we got to make something like.
You didn't do a
So-and-so.
G-Funk album or something like that.
Nah,
you know?
nah. It was, I mean, but we didn't. Again, you're still talking about some young Southside kids who stumble upon this music and are experimenting in every possible way, trying to hold on, to something for artistic purposes as well as to keep making a living. Because a lot of the money we made was just touring around. It wasn't like big money yet, ever.
So despite what people see on TV, they're like, "Oh man, these guys are rap stars now."
Yeah, man. And those 3 albums, I never made over 5,000 a beat. For
I
me.
mean, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
And there was a lot more money in the industry.
There's people who start out right now get offended if
Right.
you tell them
Yeah,
2,000. They're like,
Yeah.
what?
that have never had a placement.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So at the same one of the things that I remember about the One Day It'll All Make Sense era is that at the same time they were marketing that album, they were marketing your album.
Yes.
Can we play something? Can we play something? From
Really?
that?
Really?
Do you not want me to? Okay.
ahead.
Okay. I got to give them a number, so these aren't notes. Can we play? I guess they are notes. Let's play number 4.
What's number 4?
State to State. All right. You want to run it back?
Stop that.
You can't. You really can't. It's not on streaming.
We're here. This is conversations with No I.D.
We may not play any
Not
more music.
concert.
That's right. But interesting about that album, you can't find it on streaming.
Yes. All right. So watch this. This is what happened. In the process of maybe coming out of the first album, it was this A&R Peter Kane that worked at Relativity that we did the deal with. And I go to him one day because I'm just thinking like that. I go, so what are you looking for? He's like describing it, and I go, cool. I go make a demo. And this was all part of me going like, again, I used to just be able to do it. So I was like, man, I'm going to make a couple extra dollars, be the third guy in the crew, whatever. And I just go make a demo, 6 songs in like 2 days. And he gives me a record deal.
That easy.
That easy. And then Resurrection works, which really puts me in the place of like, why am I doing that? I think this is working now. I don't have to divide my time. So I stopped working on it. I didn't even work on it. And I had this budget sitting there. And after Resurrection work, Peter comes to me and is like, hey man, what are you doing? I gave you where's the record?
Where's the album? I gave you a budget.
I'm like, oh man, I gotta make it. So I literally took my budget,
It's amazing that you still have it.
bought a house,
Okay.
built a studio in the house, built a studio.
Literally
not
built it. I
paid-
didn't hire
not-
anybody.
Yeah.
Hammer and nails.
Bought the equipment, put it in there, got with Doug Infinite. Who was a good
Shout out to
friend.
Doug In.
Shout out to Doug Infinite. And made a record in the basement. Engineered it, mixed it, recorded it.
Everything. I mean, it's very cheap
Yeah.
to make for you.
Because at this point I was like, why am I going? This is a budget. Like I want the money.
right. Keep the budget for yourself.
Yeah,
keep keep the overhead low.
I'm like, I'm gonna end up with a house and a studio. I can do something with that. If I just end up with a record, I've seen it. It may not mean a thing. And I think what happened with that album, going back to why you say you can't hear it, is like I remember going into the company one day and talking to the higher ups, and they're like, "Yeah, man, Diddy is killing it right now, man. We need
This is 97. This
yeah,
is Diddy
now it's
era.
like now the pressure is on. I'm like, you know what? I quit.
Before the album dropped,
I quit.
you filmed the one video.
I said, we're gonna shoot one video. I'm gonna do 2 shows. That's it.
So you did not promote the album at all?
No.
Wow.
And
Never
I
knew
didn't and I was like, that's it.
Never to be a rapper again.
No. I made the decision right there, like, nah, y'all not gonna make me not. I'm me. I'm not gonna be that. You're not gonna make me wanna be something I'm not. I don't even feel comfortable being that guy that you're talking to me about.
Right.
Shout out to Paul. I love him, brother of mine, but anybody that knows me, my personality just wasn't even built for that era.
Right.
So I immediately was like,
That was the heart of the shiny suit era, the pinnacle of
see,
that.
you said that. I didn't say that.
It's fine. I mean, they can come for me. It's no big deal. But I was a fan of the Jiggy era. I have no shame in that, but that was not you.
Not me at all. So I made that decision early, and I shut the door fast.
And that's when Relativity like got picked up by a major. They had like a major. Were they with
Yeah,
MCA?
now they got Bone Thugs and Harmony.
They had some money. They had some real money at that point.
Yeah, things are just taking a whole nother turn. You know.
There's more money in rap than ever.
Yes, I'm looking at it now, and I'm going like, all right, I got to recalibrate and figure this out.
And at the same time, because I just remember there was a very dope dual marketing campaign for your album and Common's One Day It'll All Make Sense.
But that, there was tension.
That's what I was going to, yeah.
That started our first tension, which all friends, lifetime friends go through. And I think, that was when I started having different thoughts and ambitions. And I'm like, man, let's have a label together. We can sign these people. And we got these 2 girls over here, Tifa and Shauna. This kid,
Infamous
this
Syndicate.
kid Kanye over here. I got, and I'm like, we can, and then Just Roll, and then Doug Inf. Man, we could be like the new Death Row.
Let's Dr. Dre this shit.
Yeah, let's do it. And he's like, no. And next thing I know, he's like, oh, you kept that beat for you, huh? Okay.
He was tight. He didn't get stage to stage.
Yeah.
He wanted that.
So although it looked like a cool double rollout, it was tension. It was bad.
So that started the initial breakup between No I.D and Common. That first breakup.
I don't even call it a breakup. That was when he was like, "Oh, I'm not the golden one."
He's like, "Oh, you've been plotting to be the solo guy the whole time."
Oh, you gonna help others and you're okay, and not negatively. I think it was more of, I knowing him this many years, I think it was a level of insecurity. Of man, my brother's not 100% behind me now. What am I gonna do? Not more like I need to be ego style. More like, man, I better expand. The next thing he's like, yeah, I'm moving to New York.
So that was it.
Well, it didn't have to be, because a few things happened in that time period. I think he did. He had the beef with Cube, and I was like, nah, I'm not with that.
So is that why Pete Rock did?
Yeah, because I wouldn't
The
do the
bitching
beat.
you.
And I was like, I don't feel the spirit of that. It felt wrong to me. It didn't feel like it was going in the right place. And I never was one to, I don't care about the money. I just felt like I don't like the spirit of where it's going. And so that was the first time I'd ever not produced for him, which calls for outside producing, before it might be a remix or something. But I think that was also a strain of him being like, oh, I can't count on you to do everything. Okay, then I need to expand what I'm going to do too.
So then the famous Chicago, you got to leave to get on. So he leaves.
And then it's like, I could have left too, because we had left before. But I think at that point I go, nah, I don't want to do that. And then we both were like in a valley of decision, which I had to decide what I wanted to do, and he had to figure out a way to keep going.
And I would imagine that was very tough. You guys were young. I mean, that was
Yeah. I mean, again, we're still talking about kids. Because I want to say this is, what year is that?
that's
We're still
97,
like
98.
mid-20s. Like, we don't know. We just made music for some years and traveled around touring and having fun. And I think that was my first time where I was like, okay, what is my career? It's not just producing with Common. I don't know what that means. I don't even know how to, and I had to literally like take a step back. But luckily, I had a house, a studio. I had some things.
Some artists that you were
Yeah.
and you were getting calls from other artists to produce for them too, right?
Yeah,
You were
I
turning
heard.
them down at the
Yeah.
Who were some of those artists?
I mean, just like people be like, man, but Big wants some beats. I'll be like, nah, I'm Common's guy. I don't. Ghostface wants some beats. He heard this and that. Nah, I don't. And then later, I'm like, what?
You're
What
like, I
did
passed
you
on giving
do?
Biggie a beat?
Yes,
That you're a loyal guy.
but no, you got to look at the. Nobody did that back then. Pre-Illmatic, nobody did that.
One producer.
Yes,
One artist.
or the one team or one producer. So it wasn't a concept. It was like, huh?
Yeah, what was that sound like? It's not
Yeah, it's not like, oh man, Tribe Called Quest is working on an album. Let's submit beats.
that was not a thing.
No. Let's submit to Pete Rock and CL Smooth. No, it just don't. It didn't work.
Couldn't submit a beat for Doggy Style.
No, it's Dre and his team. So it wasn't. Again, some of the stuff was. It was just. It was. It wasn't until it started spreading out that I was like, oh man, I blew it. I blew it. But I mean, luckily I had those little. I built that little nest egg, which saved my life.
Because I mean, I'm guessing you were pretty tight once Common has his first big record once he stops working with you.
No, I don't
Or
think
were
I
you
was.
upset or like happy about that?
I don't think. I think I was indifferent. I may not have liked the fact that he now had a big budget and I didn't ever get my payday.
Yeah.
All those years.
So like Jay Dilla, those guys.
Yeah,
get
like
the
I'm
big
like,
checks for
really,
that.
really, you gonna pay them, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. But again, in my mind, it's still like my personality is like, it's possible. All right. So what do I want to do now? Because ultimately, we're responsible for ourselves. No one's responsible for anything for us. And although you may have expectations or pain or growing pains or whatever, nobody owes us anything. So I always knew that, and it just inspired me to open a new chapter.
And how did you start the new chapter?
That's a good question. But I know you're a historian, and you know. Well, I don't know. What was it? I think it was okay. I helped Syndicate get a deal.
Mhm.
I was trying all kind of stuff. I was like, I stopped producing rap. I'm gonna do R&B. I just started doing a bunch of R&B, which was making me grow. But I started to get these little scattered placements.
Right. And that's how, I mean, I was watching
Yeah.
from afar. You're popping up on a G Unit album.
Yeah, GM,
your
yeah,
Ghostface.
Jay-Z, Beanie Siegel, Tony Braxton.
Yeah. I mean, you were on the Blueprint too.
Yeah. And
And how are you maneuvering that at the time? Did you have like management? Were you
in and out of different guys, experimenting. Nothing really. Just like
and were you still in Chicago at the time?
I was.
How difficult was that?
Tough years.
Are you flying back and forth New York, LA with
Yeah, but not really. I'm just here. And I'm trying to really do it from here because I built this studio and I got this studio here and I got this house and I got these people and I always had these aspirations to, build these camps and these circles and teams and win. And I saw and Trax and them did it. And although, oh man, it looked like it fell apart a little, but we could do it. And it wasn't as easy as I thought. So I remember a time I sat in the basement with the keyboard player that I was working with named Shabazz, and I said, all right, listen, here's these blank DAT tapes, recording tapes, digital recording tapes. And they were like 90 minutes. I was like, we're going to fill them all up with music. I like some people going to come, some people going to go, some things going to happen, some things not going to happen, but let's just keep filling them up. Guarantee you something's going to happen if we keep going. And we just started doing it. And we just were filling it up. People were coming, people were going. And it was almost like paint the fence, Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. And, from that, just different things were happening. I developed, around Resurrection, I developed that relationship with hip-hop, who was at Roc-A-Fella. This is around Jay-Z's first album, In that time, no big deal. It's just he wasn't the biggest rapper, So
You're building a rapport with other industry people,
and I just started meeting different camps, and I go in and out, and even I was supposed to be involved in the Roc-A-Fella thing with the blueprint and all of that. I think it was really just, I didn't like the paperwork.
You're just kind of scared. I mean, you felt like maybe you've been burnt in the past.
I'm just, hey, man, I worked all these years, man. I want my money now.
Right.
I want my money.
No more scraps.
Yeah, no. So, I remember it clearly, like, it was like me, Bink, Just, and Kanye. And me and Bink were like, we don't like this business. Because really, if you go back and if you look at the back of Bean's album, like all of us is produced by all of us for Rock the World.
Right, yeah.
Right.
For the Reason album.
So that was what the team was going to be.
So Roc-A-Fella was trying to put you guys as make
G. Robeson and hip hop. Right.
So the crew was going to be called what?
Rock the World.
Wow. I didn't even know that. You got me. Got me.
And I think we all looked at the paperwork, and Justin, he was like, we don't care, whatever. And
so they're like, whatever, we're going, we're in.
We down.
They're a lot younger, more inexperienced.
Whatever. And I think we were like, nah. And it was funny because it was certain people back after that happened that was like, oh man, you blew it. It's over. You blew it. You're a dummy.
Because Roc-A-Fella just explodes at that point. Hottest label in the world.
Yes.
And you're in Chicago, like I could have been a part of that.
Yeah, but at this point I had stubborn pride. I'm like, nope.
That
too many years now. Too much blood, sweat, and tears. I'm like, nah. I don't want to just be cool and accept it. I did that.
So then your understudy or your mentee, Kanye, goes the route, blows up. You probably, I don't know if you expected that to happen or not, but.
Of course not. Of course not. I would be a liar.
That's what I mean, you probably thought.
Anybody that ever says that is a liar. I was there. I saw I know. And I don't, because meaning, even if you thought he was going to win, nobody could predict that.
He's going to be one of the biggest stars on the planet at one point.
Come on. Hey, Dion, your mother knows his mother. She says helps out the little kid. He's going to be the biggest.
No. He's just coming to your house, knocking on your door, bothering you. You're doing grown-up stuff.
And he's just take these records, sample them, please. Go home.
So you're having him find samples for you, basically.
No, I'm just like, this is how you do beats. Go home and do this. Stop. Get out of my door. I got grown folk stuff to deal with. Do you understand what's going on?
Yeah. Get out.
Yes.
And then, boom. College Dropout explodes. Kanye becomes one of the biggest rappers.
Yes.
So you're watching that. You're probably like, what the?
No, now I'm just going like,
Who knows, right? It's the whole thing is a game.
anything's possible, man. Everything is possible. Now I'm like, oh man, I could fly to the moon
Right.
if I want to. Anything's possible.
This kid that it's beyond disbelief, I'm sure, at this point.
Now it's like, because you got to understand, again, my personality is when it happens, I don't go like, I should have. Like, people don't know this. I was his manager early. Like, I took him to meetings with labels and all kind of stuff. It wasn't just, I wasn't trying to be a mentor.
Right.
That wasn't a concept.
He's probably acting wild in meetings. You're just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
They're never going to let me back
we
in
left
here.
one meeting with Columbia. And here's the irony. He was like, he told Donnie Ienner, I'm going to be the next Michael Jackson. And we were just like, everybody.
He actually kind of did it.
They were like, okay, so have a good day.
Never call us. Never call us again.
Came in the limo, left in the taxi. And I remember I got home and I was playing a video game with Peter Kane because we were co-managing him at the time. And I go, I don't think I should manage you, man. I just don't think it'll work. Like, and
he was devastated.
again, this is back to the same thing. I'm like, I'm the guy that was like, I shouldn't rap. Like, I'm a realist. Like, it wasn't about what I could make off of them. I was like, man, I don't really think I can handle.
Just your personality.
Yeah, I go crazy. I'd rather just help you and get nothing, you know. And I think that's what preserved our relationship over those years is that I never really asked for anything.
You weren't in his pockets. You didn't try to sign him to a production deal or something like that.
No, I just helped. So when it happened, it was more like, aha, okay. More space to conquer, more possibilities, less judgment of people I meet. Like immediately I threw out the window right now. Like I never know who I'm talking to. Could be the next biggest thing in the world.
That's a lesson to learn. I mean, you don't know who is going to be what.
Yeah, and it put my ego in check. It brought me to a more humble place of respecting each and every person for their potential, even when you don't see it, because you never know, and you can't measure yourself in a way to compare with anyone. You just have to measure yourself to decide where you want to go, not versus anyone, because the hardest thing about, and anybody, I liken this to a Chicago trait, but it might just be a human trait, but I've really experienced it more than here. It might just be because I'm from here. The hardest thing really was never about the success or the lack of success of my peers. It was always the other people. And this is how the other people go. Hey, man, your man doing real good, man.
Right. They're in your ear, making you feel like
He called you lately, man? What? Why? What are you talking about? I'm just saying, man. You know, he was right here with you, man. You know, and now he doing that, man. Man, he could at least he could do is.
And that's the worst thing. That's the worst part. They're making it worse. You're probably, on the inside.
I'm like, hey, man, I'm going at my pace. It's okay. I'm just saying, man. He already over there, man. He ain't call you back, man. Hey, man, relax. I'm okay. So, being able to deal with that, because I watch a lot of people not be able to deal with that. I don't mean just in music, I mean in life, which is being able to accept your pace in life and not compare it to other pace of people you know, people you don't know, and allowing it to energize you versus discourage you is a big part of the reason I have a career. and that I can sit in front of you and talk is not that I'm really that smart or that creative genius and all those things that we toss around that I absolutely don't accept for myself. But I actually just believe that I knew how to curtail my the negative parts that can emerge.
'Cause that's what can mess you up. That's what can
Yeah.
derail you.
No, that's really why a lot of people have spikes. They do good and they don't. It's because the pressure of all these things. If you don't have the right character, you'll implode, and you'll be unable to restart humbly and reinvent and grow when necessary. I do it all the time. I never created anything in my life sitting down thinking, how amazing am I?
Right. Not that ego.
No, I just sit down and go, I'm a 17-year-old at heart still, trying to make music that people like, and it's a new group of people. And they may not know me, they may not care what I did. And we may be talking about things right now that somebody's like, I don't even care about that
power,
story,
whatever,
man.
you know.
Yeah, like, move on to the important stuff, you know. How can I get a deal?
Right.
What's the secret recipe? You know, but it's character and it's education. Because throughout all these times, the part that I'm leaving out is I'm actually meeting people and I'm learning and I'm really putting pressure on myself to elevate my level of education to the point today when I go seek out mentorship with Quincy and Stevie and the people that worked with them, because I feel like we have all this information with these giants, and our generation does not take those jewels, and we don't pass those jewels, and they get lost. And we see our greats pass on, and we treat them bad until they die.
Then
And then we celebrate, and we play all the records, and we cry. And
streams go up.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
but they're right here,
They won't be forever.
and they won't. And they will gladly tell us 3/4 of what we don't know and what we're trying to figure out. And having a level of humility can allow you to access that information and prolong your stay in what you do, no matter what you do. I don't care what you do.
And what would you credit, like, you know, after all that happens, and I can fast forward a little bit, you know, you're back in the game big.
Mm.
You're getting these major placements. You're producing DOA for Jay-Z.
Yeah. I'll do the short version. I humble myself. I sit at home. I'm sitting there too long, man. This ain't working. Why? Man, I know Jermaine Dupri. Why is Jermaine Dupri better than me? I'm going to humble myself. Hey, JD, I'm coming down to work with you. Let's work together. Why you want to work with me? Because I just want to work. I want to learn.
And that was why did you call Jermaine Dupri?
Because I'm just educating myself. And I'm like, you obviously know something I don't know.
He has all these hits. I mean,
You're killing.
Did you go down there like Usher Confessions time?
It was right after.
Okay.
So
He got the
sauce.
the and if you guys don't remember, that's a 10 million sell. That's a diamond album.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I don't even know what's going on. I got to see.
He's doing Mariah. He's doing. So you're down there watching this all happen.
All of them. Nelly, Mariah, Usher, Bow Wow. I'm like, man, y'all just killing. And I'm like, man, I know I'm good. I should be able to. Why can't?
Right.
Looking in the mirror, trying to figure this out. So I just like, man, hey, I want to work with you. He's like, but I knew that I had more quote unquote respect.
Right.
And he had more money. Success. Let's not call it money. Success. Like he
had money. He had
we
hits.
talked about it.
He had respect.
And
on
I
the
thought
chart.
it was a trade. I was like, I got some sauce. You got some. See what happens. So that's where I learned how to make big records. I make the Bow Wow record. I make a couple other. I produce a record for Plies.
I like that song.
I'm just saying, I just humbled myself. You guys don't even know I was humbling myself. Like, I was like, forget everything you know, empty your cup. Just
How hard was that
how hard?
for you to
It
like?
was hard. Because and when you got respect doing a certain thing, the last thing you want to do is risk that currency.
Right, because you can't get it back.
Yeah, the last thing I want is like Pete Rock to be like, ha ha ha.
You try to sell out and you bricked. Yeah.
You know, it's like, nah, man, I gotta. But I was trying to expand it because you know what it really was? I saw Puff and D-Dot expand Kanye.
So they took his sound and.
Well, I saw him, he got a piece from me, and then I saw him mix it with a piece, and then Jay, and then I saw a bunch of pieces that equal something else, right? And I was like, well, I don't go, I don't have that ego. I go, well, I'm gonna make some pieces, right? What's the other pieces that nobody's paying attention to? Oh, right?
So let me go to JD, who has the sauce, but no, okay. I see what you did.
You
Okay.
see what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's a whole
Yeah.
nother world.
Yeah.
I go there.
It was untapped.
And the first thing he's like, let's go to the strip club. I'm like, strip club? I've never been to a strip club in my life. Why would I go to a strip club? I'm here trying to make music. And then I go in there and it's like a club with a few naked people. And I'm like, this is different.
So you just got immersed in the Atlanta culture. You got to
Yeah, and
see.
I'm like, oh, okay, I get you off records now.
And are you wondering? You got to
I'll
be
go to
wondering,
the club and it's naked people walking around. Okay.
you're like,
And
this
that'll
white's
just
not working.
dance with you for a couple dollars. I'm like, this is okay. I get what you're saying in these records now.
And this is why it's working here, not working in Chicago.
Yeah, because some of the records might sound like soliciting a prostitute. Now I'm like, no, oh,
I get it.
club, throw some dollars at you. Got it.
So you.
Oh, that's the dance y'all do in the club. Oh, got it.
So you take this information,
Yep.
and I can just see it. Everything's turning in your brain.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you get a couple placements on Jay-Z American Gangster album.
Yes, which was, I'd already worked with Jay. I already went through the Roc-A-Fella, da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, let's go work with Jay. Because he knows my currency is.
He can walk you in that,
Yeah. So
and
he's
it's
like,
not a
"Come on
money
in."
anything.
And then it's like, oh, yeah, this is now I'm blindfold. This is what I do, right? And that's when we did the two things for American Gangster. And I think that's when I began to round out my proper perspective of how much underground hip hop or cultural hip hop, Southside hip hop, common, this, that, mix it with my newborn Southern R&B hit information and codes, as me and Kanye call it. I was like, oh, I got new codes in different area codes now.
But it all clicks.
Yes.
Everything that you've been working towards.
Right.
At this point, you're probably in your 30s, right? So it didn't happen super young, and I think that's a lot of times young people get like, man, if I don't get on by the time I'm 27, I don't have a career.
I don't know many people that got on that young that do anything in their 30s. It's not many.
Right.
I don't know many people that did music when I started that still actively do music. So it's definitely not about when you get on.
It's once you figure it out.
Yeah, it's really just about your trajectory and understanding that you don't want to peak. You want to keep going up.
A steady incline.
Yes. A peak is a reason to fall. For me, in my perspective, I never seen anyone hold a peak up all forever. Matter of fact, the more you peak, the more you hate it.
Yeah, and the harder you fall.
Yes. The harder you even pull down.
Yeah, it's tough to get back up after that.
Yeah.
And your whole career has been just a steady.
Yeah, I'm just a little engine that could.
And so after that, you explode. You
Yeah.
you create the in my opinion, you created the sound for 808s and Heartbreaks. I mean that is you play a lot in that, right? I'll say it. You don't have to. Then everybody's calling. Then you make your transition.
Well, no, I'm gonna tie that together. Really, Kanye's mom's passed, and Malik Yusef goes, Dion, you got to be there for him. I go, oh, do I?
Relationship's not.
It's not bad. It's just he's a superstar. I got a different personality. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to, I'm just different. I'm just studying, I'm learning, I'm growing. That environment is just not really, because remember, he's younger than me. So when he was 14, I was 20. He was the young kid. By the time I'm 26, he's 20. By the time he's 26, I don't want to do 20 years. I don't want to hang out like that, right? So he's like, nah, he needs you, Dion, and he trusts you. And I'm like, you're right. And I literally reconnect our relationship non-musically. Like we just start talking more. And one day we just saw each other, and he's like, yeah, I'm about to go to Hawaii and work on some beats for Jay. You want to come and work together? Now, mind you, I'm like, what do you mean work together? I'm like, we don't work together. We help each other, right? But I'm like, cool.
You're not gonna turn that down.
So we flew out of Hawaii, and we really did work for Jay, and that turns into us creating a system, a system that
The Blueprint 3, you were working on that first, and then that.
that's what we were working on. And it wasn't until we made Heartless that he was like, nah, I'm doing an album. And that was how 808s and Heartbreak came into play. So
He saw the sauce you were giving Jay, and was like, actually,
I'm
gonna
not
keep
giving
some.
him that. I was like, just give it to him. He's like, no. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, he's like, what you? Hell no.
Yeah, he said, I'm keeping that.
Yeah.
That's staying.
And then next thing you know, he's gone touring. And Jay is like,
You had that the whole time?
he like, what happened to my album? And again, me having that relationship over these years, because mind you, I'm a Chicago person at heart, which means, and you guys will notice, it's hard for us to become friends with people when we really don't know them yet. So I know them, but we're not. Yeah. And it's funny because fast forward and all of that leads to eventually he comes back. We do finish the Blueprint. I do that for auto-tune. And I remember one day he's in the garden and he walks past me and I don't really say nothing. And he stops and he goes and looks back at me. And he's like, man, you ain't going to speak? And I was like, man, it's your space, man. I don't know you like that to be just walking up to you speaking, man. You gotta invite me into your space. And you be like, man, you've been around me all these years. Oh, man, forget it, man. So
At that point, you feel comfortable around. Oh,
no,
still not.
not yet. Fast forward, it really wasn't until 444 that we became friends, right?
Did you guys talk throughout those?
We would talk, but it was not. He's an introvert too. He don't, all in his raps.
He makes it seem like he's a
big
extrovert.
fake hugs, fake what's ups,
Yeah.
all of that. Like he's not opening up, right? And I'm not opening up. So it really like. So the funny part is doing the 444 sessions. One day he go like, man, you like a good guy, man. And I'm like,
You're like, thanks. It only took you 10 years.
I was like, You are too, man. I had no idea. I didn't really. I thought. He's like, nah.
I think it's
Man.
the
He's like, I thought
Jay-Z.
you was rude. I was like, why would you think I'm rude? He's like, because you would never speak. You would just come in my studio, say nothing. I was like, I was being respectful.
Wow.
All right, now we got to rewind back.
So that's how you earned your respect with Jay-Z.
That's
Being
how-
humble.
That's how, I don't know. That's how we became friends. Because, like, now we're friends.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't even use that. It's not like I got a lot of friends in the business.
Right.
But
And that's why 444 turned out the way it did. Because
Yes.
you had a real
yeah,
bond relationship.
yes. And we knew how to deal with each other in a way that brought the best out of each other, not just musically, but just enjoying every day. It was really fun and therapeutic. And
He was probably looking for somebody like that, right?
I don't know, he was looking for it.
How did that even come about? Like, how did he even breach the hey, let's do an album together where it's just me and you?
We never said that.
That was not the
And that
never.
was a conversation. It was he would see me and true story, he'd be like, I tell him the funny ones. One time I saw him at the because it'll lead into some more things on your list. He saw me at the title thing, right? He's like, man, where the butters at? I'm like, huh? The beats, man. Where the butters, man? What's up, man? Where the beats?
That's just what he said. He just casually
Yeah.
rolled up on you.
I'm like, man, I got this job now. He's like, job? Did you say job? I'm like, what you mean? Yeah. At the time, I'm like, man, I got this Def Jam thing, man. He's like, man, God didn't make you to work no job. I'm like, man, God made you to make music, man. You incredible. You can't never tell me you didn't make the music because of a job. I'm like,
Yeah.
and every time we would see each other, it would be another. So the next time, fast forward another time, he saw me like, man, you got what you working on? And I was like, getting better. He's like, what you mean? I'm working on getting better. That's what I'm working on. He's like, you ain't got no beats? I said, no, I'm working on getting better, man, at beats and life.
And this job.
Yeah. No, I didn't bring the job up
Okay,
ever again.
Ever again. That was the last.
Yes.
It was the last time you discussed the J.O.B.
Yeah.
Fair.
And all that led to one day when I did this thing. I made 100 beats. I was trying to wax on, wax off again. Made 500 beats. Eureka. I think I got a new style. I hit him. No, he hits me. Hey, man, I need you to help me with this Vic Mensa. And I go, and I got some beats now.
By the way,
And he like, oh, yeah, okay. And I'm like, nah, man, I got some beats this time. He's like, yeah, for sure. Let's,
let's link up. And you're just
yeah.
like,
And I'm like, stop playing. I got some beats.
Is this on email?
Matter of fact, no, I got the emails too.
So this is all.
I was like, I really got your next blueprint-esque thing. I know that's a lot to say, but I think I got it. He's like, yeah, that's a lot to say.
You had his attention. His ears are standing up at this point.
No, I didn't have his. I didn't. He don't care. He don't care. So we meet up, and I tear his ears off with beats, and he like, man, don't disappear, man. I'm ready. But I was like, nah, man, you don't understand. So I just started emailing him beats every day.
Just packs every day.
Just 3 to 5 every day. Until the Kill Jay-Z beat, and then he was like, come over right now.
That hit him.
My house right now. Yeah, that was the one that, and then it would just turn into talk. It really wasn't. It was more like, oh, we laid it down a good song, and then we just started talking. But every day I would just keep emailing these beats, and I was like, I'm not gonna let up. And I was, because we joke like this. I was like, man, I'm gonna outwork you, man. You lazy. you ain't about this, man. I'm about this.
Can't really imagine
I do
Chet
music.
singing.
I don't know. You might not do music no more. I say we talk crazy to each other. I just said it.
You have that
I
kind
just
of
said it to
rapport
him
with
last
Jay-Z.
week.
It's crazy.
I was like, "You still doing music, man?" He's like, "It's like, oh yeah, okay. Now I get it. I know what you're saying. I'm glad you said that."
So it started off as a Vic Mensa project, now becomes 444.
Yeah, and of course Vic like,
Vic's like, what? It's the same thing. He's like, yo.
"Come on, man."
See? Right place, right time with you. You gotta be right there. But that's revenge for, when you did the Ye thing, 808. So he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
What about could you guys do more? Is there more coming? You
Who?
think? You and Jay. Who knows?
It's just gotta happen. When you get in that friend zone, you don't look at it like that.
It's different. The relationship's different
It's
now.
just like sometimes we do silly stuff like just
Now,
talk, sit on the grass and talk.
so it's a real friendship now.
Rich people stuff.
Yeah, rich people stuff. I wouldn't know about that. So, he doesn't ask you about the job anymore?
Definitely he doesn't ask
He doesn't ask you about it?
No.
So,
I mean, at one point I was gonna. We had discussed me being at Roc-A-Fella. I mean, Rock Nation one time, but I think we got bigger views now that we share of goals we want to accomplish.
and speaking of job, like I know the clock is ticking. We're running out of time here, but I want to talk about you transitioning into an executive. How difficult was that? Or is that something that you always wanted to do? Or is that something that it just happened?
Absolutely never wanted to do it. No ambition whatsoever. It literally was just because one day, this is dark, twisted fantasy time probably. Kanye goes, "Good music is over. If you don't become the president, I'm distancing myself from this." And I go,
Well, I guess I can't say no.
I gotta say yes. So, with it being somewhat of a dysfunctional setup, I quickly saw that I could be deemed a failure. I don't like failing. I constructed a plan in my mind. I'm like, I gotta make one thing work. And again, here comes that little Malik Yourself voice. He's like, "Big Sean is good, man. You should help Big Sean."
Gotta love the voice of Malik
Yeah, I'm
Youssef.
like, "You think so?" "Yeah, he is good, right?" "Yeah." So I just go grab him. I take him to L.A. Put him.
He was just kind of sitting there at the time. It wasn't.
No, it was about to be Dunsies.
Bad.
Yeah. So that was 4 or 5 years he was.
He was just sitting there.
Yeah, he put out projects. You got to remember, he had all the looks.
So many mixtapes, features.
Yeah, he had looks. So I grabbed him. We put together the project, and then I just turned it in. And everybody's like, "What the hell just happened?" So at the time, LA
Made a power move.
Yeah. So at the Def Jam, they was like, "Man, if we hire you, can you just keep doing that?" I was like, "Yeah, I can do that."
That was from an A&R standpoint, right? They were like, "Can you just A&R all or produce? What was
Just
what was
whatever you want to call it.
We just want you."
Just want you to do that again. And I was like, "Cool." But then L.A. Reid leaves, he goes to Epic. So then he's like, "Come to Epic," and then Karen Kwok is like, "No, come to." And it led to me doing it. Now, once I got in there, and I started to like look under the hood, I go, and I felt like, and I told Jay this before, I was like, I get what you saw. You went in there and saw it, and now you're you. I just saw it. But I also felt an obligation to now educate myself and put my 10,000 hours in. So again, I go back to humble myself and go through the process. I think I'm about 10,000 hours right now on the exec side now.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think I'm armed and ready because, I get it. You got to remember, I started out when it was all indies. And then I watched the majors kill it. And then I watched the youth demand independence again. And I go, we had it in the first place.
And nobody wanted it. Everybody wanted the
No one wanted it. And now we want it. And I always go, all right, it's cold outside. Be careful what you ask for. I like in being independent to having your own tree house in the forest. It's yours. But there's ants and rain.
There's a lot of weather.
And no toilets. So be prepared. But these majors are like mansions that maybe it's a little mold on the wall. Maybe the pipe's not right. But somebody got to go in there and fix it. Or we put the tree house in the mansion. But I don't want to be in the forest. I'm not falling for that. It's too much. I want to control something and make it better. It can serve us better. With minds that's been on both sides of it. That understand 10,000 hours there, 10,000 hours there. So it went from me doing something just because I could do it to me actually seeing a purpose and sticking in throughout all the corporate politics and all of the non-musical things I have to endure to say, as a creative cultural minority that's qualified, I'm not going to be denied the opportunity to take one of these ships and turn it in the direction we needed to go. And I'm just not going to stop.
And how difficult is that? Yeah.
Yeah. It's difficult because now you're putting yourself at odds with people who like, we don't want it to go that way.
Because they're stuck for doing things.
And by the way, they make their living with it going that way. So, but I don't care. And I never needed a job anyway. So I got nothing to lose.
Right.
Fire me. But I do think as long as, we make great records, and find great talent, that's the core of our business, and have great relationships, educate ourselves. Can't be denied. It's a Kanye trait.
Right. Something that you learned from him.
I learned from watching him. Can't be denied when you qualify yourself.
That's the soundbite. So, to bring it back full circle before we wrap it up and get into the Q&A, as a pillar of the Chicago hip-hop community, you've seen it. You were in it, watched it. Now you've been able to kind of see it from afar and help nurture things. Like, where are you happy with how, the scene has gone, how it's turned out, kind of the seeds that you've planted?
Of course, because it was nothing. But I hope to see more. From the standpoint of doing my history, I understand that Quincy was here and Curtis Mayfield was here and a lot of big companies were here. I would love to see us build out the business better and not just be so creative. I think it's going to take some education more than talent. And that's what I mean by some of these, a company has to invest in that with a different business model, understanding the long-term gain. I think that the part that I get disheartened by here is that the economic culture of the city causes a level of desperation that makes no one. It's like pressure and fear that causes you to not think as you would if you were just in a state of calm. And I see a lot of mistakes that we make that I wish we didn't make. Because a lot of the quicker we do that and turn this resource around and create opportunity, it's going to create less violence. It's going to create more growth. And it can't come from one person. It can't come from one of us. It's actually got to come. Of course, we've seen the growth. I mean, look at Chance and different people. I'm happy. I guess I'm anxious to see it really come together.
Can it be duplicated? Can it be
and
scaled?
What we call in corporate world scalable.
Right.
Can we scale this, or is it good for 1 or 2 or 5? I want to see it good for 50, and then 500, and then 5,000, right? And that's not just the entertainer, that's the engineer, the studio owner, the promoter,
the manager. I mean, everything. The studio owner, everything.
It's create an
ecosystem.
economic cottage, right? And everybody has what they need in the cottage, and you start to trade services, and you start to bring income in and build. Because that's the last thing that I want to. I just would love to see us build more, and think we just went over. My first record came out in '92.
Right.
So,
do you think it's improved since '92? If you're looking at,
I'm just getting good. I'm just getting good. I'm just now understanding what being a producer means. Beyond making music, Quincy Jones never gave Michael Jackson a beat. It's just not about that. This is something else, and I'm learning, and I'm gonna be able to apply this information to anything. But more than anything, I want to be able to apply it to other people who can multiply it, right? Because I know I can only do so much. I already had to trudge through this thing when it was nothing. My knees get tired. I needed to build 10 me's and then 10 me's.
in a faster.
10.
But if you could duplicate that, because you learn so much having to sludge through all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But you have the knowledge that you can pass on to make it.
And I'm trying to get the knowledge that didn't get passed on to me. And that is more important than me being the one to go build it and put my name on it and stick my chest out. Say, look at me. It's more about just creating the next opportunities for there to be 20 chances. Of course, I tip my hat to everybody here that's doing great. I mean, I told you I'm humbled by everybody because I don't really see myself as nothing except a smart guy that got out the trap.
You've continued to progress and had an amazing career, and that's why we're here tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming out.